Hello folks, my name is Jenna from Golden State Times. Welcome back to the newsroom, and today I have a breaking news story. This one comes courtesy of goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's www.goldenstatetimes.com. So it says the biggest Fed rate hike in decades is coming next week as inflation reaches historic numbers. This comes courtesy of goldenstatetimes.com, and it says the biggest Fed rate hike in 40 years could be coming next week. It says desperate times calls for desperate measures, according to the Federal Reserve, who is arguably now increasingly desperate after a few months. It says the persistence of high inflation might force the Federal Reserve to resort to the biggest increase in a key U.S. interest rate in more than 40 years. 40 years this has not happened. Go figure that it happened under Biden. It says after another horrible U.S. inflation report, all because of Biden, economists at the brokerage Nomura Securities on Tuesday became the first on Wall Street to predict a full percentage point increase in the Fed's benchmark short-term rate. And the economist at Nomura wrote in a report to his clients, quote, "We continue to believe that markets underappreciate how entrenched U.S. inflation has become at the magnitude of response that will likely be required from the Fed to dislodge it." It says that the last time the Fed made such a drastic move was in the early 80s. In the early 80s, another period marked by sky-high inflation. It says, at each of the last two meetings, the Monetary Policy Setting Federal Reserve Open Market Committee raised the target rate by 3/4 of a point. 3/4 of a point they have been doing for the last 2 months. In August, the Consumer Price Index rose a scant 0.1%, largely because another big drop in energy prices and the annual pace of inflation slowed a bit to 8.3 from 8.5. But it says that was virtually all good news. The cost almost rose in everything throughout the month, including food, rent, clothes, furniture, cars, medical equipment, medical care, and everything else. It says that the result, another price measure viewed by the Fed as a better indicator of the future, as inflation trends rose sharply in August and hit the highest yearly rate in 5 months. It says that the so-called core rate of consumer inflation climbed to a yearly pace of 6.3% in August from 5.9% the prior month, according to the labor statistic data. It says that the backup in the core rate is a call to bolder action, according to economists. And they said, quote, "We believe it to be increasingly clear that a more aggressive path of interest rate hikes will be needed to combat increasingly entrenched inflation stemming from an overheating labor market, unsustainably strong wage growth, and higher inflation expectations." It says that the federal funds rate, the central bank's short-term rate, now hovers in the range of 2.25% to 2.5%. The cost of most consumer and business loans are tied to that rate. Now, what happens? What happens when the central bank starts to tighten their belt? That is the reason why you're seeing that Wall Street is panicking. That is the reason that you see some companies crashing. You see a bunch of companies firing people. That's why you see Bed Bath & Beyond crashing. And unfortunately, and my condolences to his family, but what happened with I think it was the CFO or the CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond. What did he do? All these companies knew that this was coming. Every single one of them knew that this was coming, and that's the reason why they've been firing thousands of people, including Walmart, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond, and many, many other companies are doing the exact same thing. They're either firing, they're doing hiring freezes, restructuring, selling themselves off to everybody else, like the news company Axios. They just recently sold themselves off because they can't survive. Why can't they survive? Because their loans are extremely high when it comes to their interest rates. They can't get new loans. They can't get any more money because the interest rate is so extremely high. It says that Nomura predicts that the rate will be increased to the range of 3.25% to 3.5% at the Fed's policy meeting next week. And the Fed, in Nomura's view, will ultimately push the key rate as high as 4.75% in 23. That is going to wipe out a bunch of companies. I'm just telling you that right now. That is going to wipe out a whole bunch of companies. Why? Because they are not going to be able to get new loans. It's like a trickle down effect. No new loans are going to be able to be gotten for this. Just like regular folks like me and you right now can't go out and get a loan, personal loan, or a home loan, because the interest rate is at now going to be around 7 or 8%. It's the same way that these big companies are no longer going to be able to go out and get a new loan to open up new branches or to do whatever they need to do, at almost 4% or almost 5% in 2023. And that was one of the biggest things that was talked about last month at the Federal Reserve meeting, where they upped it in August again, another 3/4. But now, forget about halves, 3/4. Now they're going to be upping it. We're going to do a rate increase at the Federal Reserve of 1 percentage point from here on. 1 percentage point in September, one in August. One in September, one in October, one in November, one in December, January, February, March, maybe even beyond that. Because right now, what I can sense is it's going to be until March. 1 percentage point until March. That is what? September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Wow, that's 7. That's 7 whole percentage points. Hold on. Let me see. So right now, mortgage rates and all of those personal loans and stuff like that are, if you have good credit, are at 6%. Now, if you raise it another 7, that is what we're going to be ending up with in 2023. Now, 13%. 13%. Now, I was talking recently to someone. I was taking a Lyft ride, and I was telling them, hey, how is inflation hurting you? And she said that it reminded her, these times remind her of what happened back in the early 80s, which is the last time that they did a rate hike of 1 percentage point. And she said that that back in those days, people were getting loans for houses at 10%. She was a real estate agent at the time, back in the early 80s, and people were getting home loans at 10%. But the problem with that is that at that time, home prices were either in the to get a really nice house in the early 100,000s or in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Depending on where you live, depending on the state, depending on a bunch of different factors, obviously. But they were paying 10% interest rate on an $80,000 home. Now, for your mortgage rate, just add another zero. Add another zero to whatever you were paying before. So let's say like $800 back in the day, back in the 80s, was like, oh my God, $800 for rent. Now, add another zero. That is what's going to be reality very soon. I was looking in my area just to see what the damage is for people that can't buy a home and have to get an apartment. In my area, a 2-bedroom apartment is $5,000 a month. $5,000. So I said that can't be true. So like, okay, well, let me go look at the cheapest places. Let me go look at different neighborhoods, let's say 40, 50 miles away, where supposedly the rent was pretty cheap, or where I had lived years ago, and I could not believe my eyes. A 1-bedroom apartment won't go down of $2,500. $2,500. This is in California. Obviously, if you go to like nowhere, Pennsylvania, you'll get something for like $800. Or you go to a border town in Texas or Arizona or New Mexico and you get something for $500. Yeah, I get that. But nobody wants to live there. Nobody in their right mind wants to live there. Unless you've been there for generations, nobody in their right mind will not want to live there. But in places that people do want to live, you will not get anything less than $2,500 for a 1-bedroom. And the thing that is coming next, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, is a house market crash. And I'm going to do a report on that very soon. Because that is coming. It's definitely coming. So if you have a house, and it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter in what condition or how old it is, hold on to it. Hug it tight. And make it beautiful if it's not already fixed. Go out there and make your house as beautiful as you possibly can. And thank God every single day that you have it. Because you're going to be there for a while. Not only you, everyone. If you're a homeowner, you're going to be there for a while. So might as well make it nice and beautiful and thank God every single morning you wake up in it. Every single day that you look up and you have a roof over your head, thank God every single morning. Thank you for my house, God. Thank you for allowing me to wake up. Thank you for my food and everything else, all the blessings that you have every single day, because this stuff is getting crazy. I'm telling you that right now. This stuff is getting crazy. Inflation is high. Food prices are extremely high. Gas prices is a mirage because they're coming. They're going to be extremely high. Don't think that the $3 that what's it called that is at your nearest gas station is going to be the new normal now. No. It's not. It's coming. Just like the last time I told everybody, it's coming. Prices of gas are going to explode. Housing is going to crash. That's where we're headed. And don't forget, don't let them lie to you and make you believe that we're not in a recession still, which we are. But that's for another video. Thank you so much. I don't want to keep rambling. I'm just warning like I always do. And I hope that at least one person listens to me. And I hope that at least one person understands what's happening. If you are that one person, thank you so much for listening. Because my job is to inform, my job is to warn, and my job is to tell you. And if one person can get something from this, if one person looks up and says, hey, Gent reminded me to thank you for my house, for my breath, for my food, I did my job. Thank you so much, folks, and I'll see you guys on the next one. There's a bunch of news stories coming out very soon. Hopefully a little bit better than these, but that's what's happening, folks. Just get ready for it. I don't know how. I guess emotionally, get closer to God. Pray because it's extremely powerful. But get ready. So thank you so much, folks, and I'll see you guys on the next one. My name is Gent from Golden State Times, and I'll see you very soon. If you guys missed our previous videos, they should be coming up on your screen. They're interactive. Click on them, and don't forget to visit our website, goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's www.goldenstatetimes.com. Thanks so much, folks, and I'll see you soon. Peace.